Welcome back to the PuckPitchesPigskins podcast, live here from the Media Hub at Durham. I'm your host, Drake Varley. It's been a while. If you guys are new to the show, we talk everything hockey, baseball, from deep analytics to fun stories and a little bit of football. Have some fun with that third segment, especially here in the summer. Typically, there's not much going on. So for this week, instead of American football, we're going to be talking European football because we're hosting the World Cup, one of the three nations hosting the World Cup. So we'll talk more about that. We'll also talk about the Carolina Hurricanes and winning the Stanley Cup. The Leafs, making some, I would say, some good moves, but also some questionable moves. We'll get into that as well. The Jays, kind of how are they doing right now? We'll talk about how we normally talk about the Jays because it's so condescending because their record as of today is split 500. So very condescending record, as well as some all-star caliber votes. Who's deserving of it? Our Blue Jays fans crazy because quickly, Kirk is like second in catcher voting. He's played like 20 games. I don't get how someone could be second, but I rest my case. But congratulations to Seth Jarvis, Jordan Staal, and the Carolina Hurricanes. You guys are they're the 2026 Stanley Cup champions. Well deserved. I clearly jinxed Vegas because the last time I said I was on the show, I said Vegas is winning in 5 or 6, and they ended up losing in 6. So that's on me, Vegas. My bad. But I don't think anyone was really rooting for them. At least from what I've seen on social media, a lot of people were kind of rooting against them. Fair enough. I mean, they're the villain of the NHL because they've made the Stanley Cup more times in a 10-year existence than the Leafs have had in like almost their entire franchise's existence. Like it's sad, but they're gonna deserve the hate, kind of like the Golden State Warriors. When they're dominant, everyone hates people who are dominant, or teams that are dominant. Look at the Patriots, then the Chiefs. There's a track record of if you're winning all the time, the fans will eventually turn on you, even if they were rooting for you at the beginning. So, with that being said, Jordan Staal, oldest player in NHL history when a Conn Smythe. He absolutely earned that. The way he was playing in the Cup final, getting a goal streak in the playoffs alone is insane. But to do that in the Stanley Cup final is even more. I'd say he earned that ability to earn that trophy. So congratulations to Jordan Staal. Does he retire? I would go out on top. 100%. Conn Smythe, my name's forever cemented in history on the Stanley Cup, and my name's now on the Conn Smythe trophy. So I personally am calling it quits. We'll talk about a few other retirements and some Hall of Fame inductees as well. I don't know if anyone's seen the clips on social media. I should probably pull some clips, but Seth Jarvis clearly is partying and then tells media, I don't party. I'm ready for next season. He's like 12 Budweisers deep saying that, but it's crazy an athlete's mindset even after winning. I know he might have been partly joking, but at the same time he's a professional athlete. And when you're a professional athlete and you're being interviewed after winning your trophy, the hardest trophy probably to win in sports, I would say, and you're trying to get the media to get that narrative that you are getting ready for next season. Like he is a grind kind of guy. Fun fact about Seth Jarvis, and this is going to paint. I always have some fun facts about the Leafs. The Leafs traded a first-round pick and Patrick Marleau to the Carolina Hurricanes to dump Marleau's salary. I was in 7th or 8th grade at the time, and it ended up becoming Seth Jarvis. The first-round pick we traded to Boston in the Phil Kessel trade ended up being Tyler Seguin. Why are we doing that? We keep doing it, and it keeps backfiring. To kind of segue, though, to the Leafs, very interesting hiring of Jim Hiller. I mean, he was an assistant coach before with the Leafs. Does it work? I think so. I think he likes Matthews. He likes that group. He's played with that, coached that group before. Not as a head coach, but I think now he gets to assert himself. You're going to see some moving parts within the coaching staff. especially since we've seen all the moving parts within the front office. I think the Leafs are going to be in a good spot coming Friday, because Friday is the NHL draft, and surely we already know who they're taking. It kind of got leaked on Twitter already who they were taking, so I mean, it kind of ruins the draft. But I mean, I've been saying it for past 4 shows since we found out they got the number 1 pick, is that they're going to take McKenna. He's literally a left-handed Mitch Marner. He has player comparisons to Patrick Kane. He's a 3-time Stanley Cup champion. You're just not going to pass up on that. I know, I will say Stenberg is the more well-rounded player, but has a lower ceiling than what McKenna has. Also, Stenberg's going to be more physical, but we don't need physicality, because it showed that we had Nyes. We had, Domi, who's a bit of a physical guy. Joshua. We got slow last year. The pace of play wasn't really there. So for us to go out there and draft someone who's, I'm not saying that Stenberg is slow by any means, but definitely size does matter. As someone who plays hockey, I'm a bigger guy. I'm not as fast as some of the smaller or not as heavy in weight guys. It does play kind of a factor. So I think the Leafs are going to take McKenna, and if they don't, I may riot outside of Durham College residence. I may lose it. So, in terms of the Darren Radish sign and trade, it's good. I mean, 8 years for a 30-year-old defenseman is a bit steep, and the contract does have the potential to age like milk. But you're kind of in win now mode. You don't know really what Matthews is thinking, especially with, we'll get into it, but the Brady Tkachuk situation, that kind of changes things, because if Ottawa's willing to trade their captain, are the Leafs willing to trade their captain? Or it's just a narrative that's going around for paranoid Leafs fans like myself. I will say Matthews is setting himself up to have a good season because they're bringing in more pieces. Radish said it on a podcast that they're bringing in more pieces. So the players know who's coming in, or they have an idea of who's coming in. There was a leak apparently inside Scotiabank Arena where it said Sergei, it was a Sergei Bobrovsky graphic. I think it's AI, because if you look on that graphic, you look in the background of the border that's going around, there's some really, it's either really Russian or really AI kind of text. I think it's AI. I also don't think the Leafs are in a position where they're going to be signing a goalie. I'm going to shut that down, because if we really wanted to have another goalie, why trade Joe Woll for, Emil Anderson, the defenseman we got, and Urson is a really good young goaltender, but the defenseman that we got is a good puck-moving defender. So I just don't see it, especially with the Marlies winning the Calder Cup. I don't see the Leafs going and signing a goaltender, because we have Hildeby, who's going to be waiver accessible. So what that means, in case you guys don't know, he's going to be able to play preseason, and if the Leafs send him down to the American Hockey League, he goes through a waiver wire, where last season he wouldn't have to go through waivers because he wasn't a certain age. It's kind of like in baseball. If you have a certain amount of service time, you get DFA'd instead of optioned. So he just can't go down to the minors without every other team in the NHL having an opportunity to take him. I don't think the Leafs are going to risk that. That's why the Joseph Woll trade happened. I heard a few rumors. My friends were also telling me, I forget how to pronounce his name, but the starting goalie for the Toronto Marlies, I'm going to try it. I'm going to butcher it. Artem Artemonov. He's not ready for the NHL. Yeah, he won the playoff MVP, and he did win. What was it, the best goals against average in the AHL? But he had a veteran team. He had Dakota Mermis, Jen's legend, by the way, won a Memorial Cup with us in 2015. He had, Ben Danford, who just came over and played fantastic, but that's Danford's style of play, defensive. He had a good decor in front of him is what I'm trying to get at. Blake Smith, Oshawa born talent, played for the Oshawa Minor Generals, played for the Oshawa Generals. He's, he was a big part of that team. Cowan had a great performance in the postseason. Alex Nylander had a good performance. I think it's kind of funny. People forget that Nylander's brother, Alex Nylander, plays for the Marlies, and he's on a 1 year deal. And I think based on how he played, the Leafs should give him a fair shot at making the NHL roster. If not, waive him. Like, get him somewhere else. Get him playing somewhere else. Get him somewhere better, more efficient. He's bounced around. He played not Colorado. He played Buffalo. He played Chicago. He's played Columbus. He's played Pittsburgh. He's kind of bounced around, right? So he's had his fair share of opportunities. He was a high draft pick too. I think he was a top 10 or top 15 selection. So give him a chance. He did prove himself in the playoffs. Give him like a third or fourth line role in the NHL. See how it goes. Because Domi's out indefinitely. There's no timeline on that. Indefinitely means that the team has no idea when he'll be back. The media has no idea when he'll be back. The player itself has no idea when he'll be back. So it's kind of just like we'll get a timeline probably when the season starts. That's when we'll hear more about what he's going to be doing and how he's going to kind of come back into this Leafs team, which if they're a good team and he does come back, I think he's either healthy scratched or waived. No diss to Max Domi. It's just coming back from an injury like this is not easy. It's one of the hardest things to come back from. Especially being a guy entering your mid-30s. It's scary to come back from an injury like that. I'm going to stop talking about the Leafs because I feel like I'm like a little brat just talking about my favorite team. We're going to go kind of a few storylines that are happening around the NHL. The biggest one is Brady Tkachuk getting traded for 3 first-round picks. One of them is conditional, but 3 first-round picks and a second. One being the 9th overall pick and the 25th overall pick. So 2 picks in this year's draft going to the Ottawa Senators. There's a lot of angry Sens fans. There's a lot of angry Sens management, I would say, as well. I'm not mad about it. I mean, as a Leafs fan, yes, I got to deal with the Bash Bros. It's like I'm watching. It's like I'm watching 2 big giants going at my star players every 4 times a year. By the way, so two games at home, 2 games around the road. And then plus playoffs, which we already couldn't beat Florida without those 2 on the same team. Now they're on the same team. Sam Bennett and Brady Tkachuk, who went at it at 4 Nations, on the same line, according to Puck Empire, which is just a site. He's wearing number 8. I don't know if anyone's seen the press conference this morning. He's wearing 8. He's happy to be there, of course. Now, we'll talk the condition on the first-round pick because there's a 2029 first-round pick, and it's conditional. The condition is Tkachuk needs to re-sign in Florida because his UFA, not this season, but the season after. If he re-signs, Ottawa retains that first-round pick. If he doesn't re-sign, the pick does not get involved in the trade whatsoever. So, could be a lose situation for Ottawa. Could be a lose-lose situation. Again, it's tough when you're not getting a roster player back. I think that was one thing most Sens fans were kind of like, whoa, we didn't get a roster player back. If you are a Sens fan right now, I'm sorry. I didn't know you guys existed. So I just thought you were tired of losing in Toronto, so you moved to Ottawa and watched the Sens play. But on a real note, you guys are going to be fine. I think you have the pieces. Now you have the cap space. You're getting 2 first-rounders this year. 9th overall is tricky because most 9th overall picks don't make the show and they're right away out of training camp. But still, 9th overall is pretty good. You could probably get them into the NHL 2 or 3 seasons after you draft them. So they have some futures to rely on, and they have a little bit more in-depth cap space. Like, I think they don't need to go out there and get a star player because you have Tim Stützle. You just build around him. Get some other, some pieces, guys who you can sign about $4.5-5 mil per year. And build some strong foundational pieces around them because your draft picks will come in and they will play. And then you can determine what that's going to be like from there. Again, trading draft picks for one player, it's always kind of scary because you don't know how good the draft pick will turn out. You have the future, you have the hope, but the actual execution, it is kind of scary. So that is, other than the Hall of Fame, it's going to wrap it for the Brady Tkachuk news and the Brady Tkachuk conversation. Carey Price, Hall of Famer, that was no doubt. I watched that guy ruin my childhood. He's good. So there's no doubt he makes the Hall of Fame. Patrice Bergeron as well, ruined my childhood. He's in the Hall of Fame. There was also a no-brainer about that. Good weekend for the Tkachuks. Keith Tkachuk was named into the Hall of Fame. Keith Tkachuk played for the Atlanta Thrashers, by the way. I didn't know that until I looked at his hockey reference the other day. He played for the Thrashers, and he's one of the last players to ever play. I think it was in the last season of Atlanta's existence before they moved to Winnipeg. That's crazy. It's a crazy little thought that I had. There was one more big one, and it's stumping me. But yes, Pekka Rinne, thank you. He very well deserved that. Absolute masterclass of a season in 2016-2017. Led his team to the Stanley Cup final. Shout out to my tech, Justin, coming in clutch there, because that one was blanking me, and I knew it was a big name. So that is going to wrap it up here for the hockey segment. We have a busy week coming up. So next week, we will know who the Leafs have drafted. It's almost July 1st. So in case anyone doesn't know, July 1st is free agency opens up. So lots of things happen July 1st. Leafs could have a few big moves, or I could be sitting here the following week and going, why didn't they do anything? But also sometimes staying put is good. Brad Treliving can learn a thing or two about staying put instead of trading your entire first round pick and all your prospects for players who play fourth line minutes. But anyway, it's going to wrap it up here for the hockey segment. You can always follow us at the Durham College DCSA Media Hub and our Instagram as well. The Instagram is kind of being put on a pause for now just because I want to enjoy my summer a little bit. And I'm trying to, but we'll be back up for when we come back to semester 1 for school. So thank you guys for listening to the hockey segment. I hope to see you guys back for the baseball. Welcome back to the Puck Pitches Pigskins podcast, live here from the DCSA Media Hub and Riot Radio. I am your host, Drake Drizzy Varley. We're going to be here talking about baseball, kind of the only sport other than the World Cup that is on right now. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot to talk about just because with this being the only thing that has actual action, I have the most to talk about it. Jays have been playing pretty well. I mean, they swept the Red Sox. They got bailed out of losing a series in Chicago because of some rain delay. I was watching the 16-3 massacre the other day, and yes, I sat there and watched the complete ball game where they lost 16-3. And I was not pleased, but also at the same time, they came back with some fire. I mean, they were down 5-0 in that following game against the Cubs. I've never that's the team that played on Wednesday afternoon, on Saturday afternoon. Sorry, that team that played Saturday afternoon really looked like that 2025 Blue Jays team, where they can come back no matter the score. And I'm hoping now that we're getting healthy again, kind of. I know Vlad's having some back stiffness, but now that we're getting healthy again, I feel like we could start to see this team creep above 500. The American League is so open this year that the Jays could have a 500 record and still make the playoffs, in my opinion. That's how open the AL East is. If they were in the AL West, they would be a first-place team right now, which is kind of nuts, or at least en route to being a first-place team. And The Yankees are, for some unknown reason, they're still performing really well. I know we have a big-time series against the Mets coming up, so it's going to be, we got to win, and we gotta hope that the Yanks continue to lose, even though they've been playing really well. We got to hope the Rays, because I don't understand Tampa Bay. They can go from being the worst team in baseball, not even change a thing. They maybe bring in one starting pitcher, few relievers, and then all of a sudden, best team in baseball. It's like, it's happened before too. When they went in that little World Series run in COVID, like they didn't change much from the 2019 team, and the 2019 team wasn't the greatest. And then they make the World Series. Yeah, they lose in it, but they make the World Series. Notable players, Louis Varland, absolute stud. Get this guy a contract and a half. Failed starter turned closing pitcher. It is the easiest storyline in baseball. Many starting pitchers fail being starters, but they don't give up on their careers and they convert to being a closer or reliever. The really good starting pitchers who fizzle out, am I really going to mean like good college pitchers, good minor league pitchers, but can't figure out at the major league level, quickly make the adjustment to being a closing pitcher or a relieving pitcher, and they dominate because it's just like it happens all the time. I'm not a baseball pitching coach, so I can't tell you how, but it's mindset is one big thing. You're not pitching, you're not expected to go 6 innings. You're expected to have one good dominant inning, keep your pitch count low, keep them off the base paths, and it works for some people, and some it doesn't. So Louis Varland is a perfect example of that because he came into his MLB career being a starter who threw like 95. Like he didn't pump up to 100. He got optioned, became a reliever with the Twins, really developed that fastball, that knuckle curve, and then kind of fizzled up and down until we traded for him. Weird that we got him in the Allen Roden trade. So we literally got a top-notch player for someone who's not the greatest, and I don't think Roden's even with the Twins organization anymore, so just think about that. Could win reliever of the year. The only reason I say he won't is because he doesn't have enough closing appearances, because Hoffman did close for the first month of the campaign. But if he's like going to continue to produce like this consistently, because he had a few blips. Not that long ago, and it's like you can't blame him. You can't blame the guy. He pitched really well. The same thing happened against Judge in the division series. He misses his spots, and when he misses his spots, they get hammered. Like the knuckle curve down in the Goldschmidt got hammered, and those things happen, especially to good pitchers. He's not heavily reliant on the fastball as much as I think he should be. But his secondary pitches really complement his primary pitches, so he becomes consistent. That's why his ERA is so low, because he tunnels. I pitched growing up playing baseball. One thing I wish I knew how to do better is tunnel pitches. I can't, and he can. That's why I'm sitting here at this desk, and he's playing in the majors. But it's pitching really matters. Bullpen really matters. Hoffman's looked good in the 7th inning. You can try getting him in the 8th, but I really like the way our bullpen's kind of shaping up. We option Pinguero. I don't know how I really feel about the option because he was playing really good, but the bat that we did get we just traded for Luis Arias, not Arias, and he, Arias, very versatile guy. He can play second, third, first, left, right, center. The guy can play anywhere. And he hits well. He had an 840 OPS in AAA, and not a lot of pop, like no power out of his bat, but some consistent contact, some hard contact. And I think he's going to be the better piece long term. He's going to build a foundation around their team in terms of just defense. Because we had the sluggers. Like we had Hernandez, we had Carrillo Jr., but we traded those players away for pieces that would make the team better defensively, more liable defensively, because we didn't have a good defensive team. I don't know if anyone remembers, but back in when we made the playoffs and we played Seattle in those wild card series, defense was like the reason we lost the series. And we go here, we make these moves, we come better defensively, we still make the playoffs, but then the offense struggles in the playoffs. And then 2025 happens, and everything kind of comes together. And I think getting some better defense help on the middle infield would help. I mean, Jimenez, Gold Glove, Clement, maybe Gold Glove. I think he makes an all-star appearance because he's by far the best second baseman in the American League right now. Do the Jays have enough, though, as it stands right now? No trades. I know the trade deadline's not for another month, but no trades right now. Do the Jays have enough to make the playoffs? No, they don't. They don't have enough pieces. They're not meshing. I don't feel the same way I felt last season with this team. And a part of that is simply just because their consistency with the hitting bothers me. You know, Okamoto tied Bichette's record, by the way, for the fastest player in franchise history, hit 16 home runs. So there's your Bo Bichette replacement, and his defense has been good. Strikeout problem is there. Bichette had a strikeout problem when he was younger and first started in Toronto. Obviously, Okamoto is not younger. He's 29. But first season in MLB action, he could win Rookie of the Year. Like, very well could win Rookie of the Year. I know, it's crazy. 29-year-old going to win Rookie of the Year. It's just the strikeouts for me. If I'm attacking Okamoto, I'm going away, keeping the ball away. No fastballs. He's a fastball hitter. And until he proves the other teams otherwise, like until he shows a pitcher that he can hit his off speed or hit his breaking pitches, he's just going to keep doing that. So one piece is good. Okamoto's fine. Strikeouts are there. Vlad, the money that he is making versus the play that he is giving and the output that he is giving, just not there at all. The contact rate is still there. The power is gone. It's gone. Like, I was hoping, based on how he was playing in the World Baseball Classic, I was like, Vlad's going to hit 25, 30 home runs this year, 100-plus RBIs. That's just not the case. They're not playing like that at all. So when you're top dog, when you're captain, we'll call him a captain because there's no captains in baseball. When you're captain of your team, your face of your franchise is not playing well, it's going to trickle down to the rest of the ball club. So guys like Ernie Clement having a good year for now. The analytics show he has one of the lowest walk rates in the majors and one of the highest chase rates in the majors. He's just a bad ball hitter. And that means if a pitch is outside, he will go out there and get it. A pitch is inside, he will shorten his swing and go get it. Does that create long-term success in baseball? No. Pitchers will react to the way you hit, and they will. It's like a game of chess, man. Everyone makes adjustments in baseball. Consistently makes adjustments. So, with that being said, do I think they're going to be a playoff team? No. Do I think they're going to sell? No. I think they're going to just miss by like 4 or 5 games. And then that's going to be enough for them to not go into panic mode and trade everyone, but can very well bring in some pieces, bring in some better, not hitters, but like some better depth. Because I think that's what they did with Luis Arraez. He's a good depth hitter and a good depth fielder. But they need that too with relief pitching, because if one of our, like, we had Brendan Little back up, and you guys everyone knows how I feel about Brendan Little. That guy's bad. Like, good AAA player, because he's lights out in AAA. He's like a sub-2 ERA in AAA. In the majors, batting practice. I could hit a home run off Brendan Little, okay? So he's going to be a guy who I think goes to like Japan or Mexico, develops better, and then makes back to the majors. Just not with the Jays. He's not working. He gets put into some bad situations sometimes. I will give him that. But still, man, like, even last year in the playoffs, it looked like the knuckle curve wasn't working the way he wanted to. It looked like the sinker wasn't working it. the fastball as well, super hittable because it's mid 90s to low 90s. It's super hittable. For me, I would say go out there and trade for either Jojo Romero if you're going to try to compete next year. Trade for Jojo Romero, a better lefty, or Yanier Cano from the Orioles. Again, trading within your division is tough, but Cano's a very good pitcher. Having a bit of a sluggish year, but he can become very good. So we'll talk All-Star, because I did mention before the game, Alejandro Kirk sits at second among catchers, meaning he would be an All-Star. I know he's having a good season, even with the little games he's played, but the guy has played like maybe a fourth of the season that's already gone on. You know, like, you can't make that guy an All-Star. Like, you just genuinely can't. Vlad, you can't sit here and tell me, consciously, Ben Rice doesn't deserve to be an All-Star over Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and that's coming from a Jays fan who, despises the Yankees. And Ben Rice is the better first baseman, better defensively first baseman. Guy just hits tanks. Yes, he's in Yankee Stadium more than he's not, so that does help. But still, I mean, it's not like, hitting a ball 320 feet is still impressive. So I think he deserves to be the All-Star. Clement at the first for second base makes sense because second base has not really been a productive position this year for any team. Typically, you would see guys like Jose Altuve slot into there. I guess Alex Bregman was a second baseman last year, so he would kind of slot into there. But this year, he's obviously in the NL and playing a different position, so it opens up Clement, and Clement is playing above average. So he's kind of having a Santiago Espinal kind of year. That's kind of what he's reminding me of. Just very good bat to ball skills, and it's been working for him. And then I'm in terms of Yordan Alvarez, that makes a lot of sense. He's having an MVP kind of year. At third base, I know Okamoto was up there for an All-Star appearance. I think he might make the All-Star team, but not be a starter, because there's that to think about too. Cease obviously going to be probably up there for starting pitching. I know Miles Straw was 10th in center field. This is what I don't like about All-Star voting. Fans can... It's kind of like John Scott in the NHL, Like, you can't vote. You can't predict that your fans are like, what's stopping me from gathering every student in here and let's just go vote for, I don't know. Let's go vote for Joe Random and get him into the All-Star game. You know what I mean? I don't like fan voting. I think it should be the MLBPA who votes, the owners who vote, the GMs who vote. But, again, Miles Straw is 10th in the center fielding vote, and he's having a good year, but he's playing platoon, so you can't really give him an All-Star vote because he's playing right, center, left. He's not consistently playing one position. Same thing with Gold Gloves. It's weird. Go vote for your favorite player. I'm all for that, but it has to make sense. I'm a guy who, obviously, I do this show where I talk analytics and I try to have some fun while doing it. But be realistic. Vlad is not an all-star this year. Kirk is definitely not an all-star this year. There are way better catchers out there. I know Cal Raleigh's having a bad year, but I would put Cal Raleigh as an all-star catcher over Kirk right now. It's just figure that kind of stuff out, because the Jays are good, but they're not that good. I don't think that we should have 5-7 players on a top 2 in each position category when we're 500, and that's because our fan base is bigger than any fan base, because our fan base is a country rather than a state or a city. So that's kind of going to wrap it up for baseball here on the Puck Pitches Pigskins podcast. Next is going to be something, I will give you a disclaimer. I know nothing about soccer. I played in elementary school, and I played defense because I'm so bad at soccer that they just had me off in the corner. So, I know nothing. I'm just going to tell you from a fan experience and how I'm enjoying watching and enjoying playing a little bit of soccer, too, during the summer. So, that's coming up next. Like I said, you can follow us on the DCSA Media Hub on Riot Radio, as well as our Instagram and YouTube page as well. So, Coming right up is World Cup, and see if Canada can beat Switzerland and make some history. See you soon. Welcome back to the PuckPitchesPigskins podcast. I am your host, Drake Varley, here from the DCSA Media Hub on Riot Radio. And I guess we can't call it pigskins because I don't know what footballs or European footballs are made out of. I think it's kip leather. So it's not a pigskins segment. It is a European soccer segment because I can't not talk about the World Cup. It's been so entertaining, especially as someone who's not necessarily a big soccer person. I'm trying to get into it. As I've been watching the World Cup, I want to start following the MLS a little bit, especially considering games are like $15 to go to. It's pretty cheap. Not World Cup games, that is. I was looking into it. I am not going to pay $1,500. That's like almost my tuition. I'm not going to do that. But as we speak right now, Portugal is playing. They're up 2-0 at the 25-minute mark. Or, sorry, 2-0. That's, I'm learning. Against Uzbekistan. So we kind of get this super cool cultural event that brings a bunch of, I think it's so cool how it works. It brings a bunch of nations together and celebrates probably, easily, hands down, the biggest sport in the world is soccer. It's got the biggest stadiums. It has the most worldwide. That and cricket has the most worldwide kind of engagement. And so far, super entertaining. I don't necessarily know what nations are really good. I assume Brazil's good. I know Neymar. I assume Mexico's decent because, I know I have a lot of Mexican friends who are gross, just so good at soccer. So I assume they're pretty good. I know South Korea's not bad. I know Japan's really good. Sweden's really good. Argentina, Messi, this is nuts. I did not even know that 17 goals was a lot. But he's first in all-time World Cup scoring, and Mbappe, who's maybe 10 years younger than him. I think 14 or 13 years younger than him. I think Mbappe's 25 now. Is 2 goals away from breaking his record. That's nuts. Again, I don't know much. This is kind of just going to be me telling you guys about my experience with the World Cup and the games I've been watching and who I think is going to come out on top and win the whole thing. Even knowing it's so early on, you can't really make that prediction. In terms of what happened last night, I kind of have it up here. There was some good games. I was watching majority of the time yesterday, Argentina beating Austria. That was kind of cool. Apparently, people are not as big of a Ronaldo fan as I thought they were. Everyone likes Messi more. I'm kind of for it. He's so cool. Like I said, if I ever had the $1,000 to go spend to watch them play in the World Cup, I totally would. Even when Messi comes and plays in Toronto in the MLS, it's still $600 to go watch him play for good seats. I wouldn't sit up in nosebleeds. I would want to smell the guy's pheromones. France. I know France won it 2018. I know they that was a good time for. I was 8th grade watching that. I remember doing that in school. Argentina won it last time, if I'm not mistaken. I think they're kind of the favorites to win it again. For me, Norway has been pretty good. I like watching their games. It's entertaining. I don't know the striker's name, and I'm going to butcher it trying to say it. But super cool guy. This guy's on social media. He came up with my Snapchat recommended. He's just living life in America during his time in the World Cup. And I think Portugal's underperforming is what I'm kind of getting the narrative of, that Ronaldo is not playing as good as he's as advertised. Again, you're going to hear me say I think a lot because this is my first time as an adult like going to sit down and watch the World Cup and be engaged. Thank God I have like my girlfriend help me out with stuff like this because she loves soccer and she's really teaching me. I found out what a clean sheet is. That's a shutout. I'm also not allowed to call them tendies. They're keepers. Like there's so much stuff that I'm learning. England as well, really good. I'm not English. I'm German, so I kind of root for Germany and Canada at the same time. I see a lot of people on the streets having like two flags, like one on their driver's side, one on their passenger side, one with Canada and one with like their home country or the country that they have the relation with. And it's so cool for me just to it's such a, like I mentioned before, it's such a big cultural event because it brings so many nations together. I seen on Instagram, like there was this I think he was an Austrian fan, and like these Argentina fans just like grabbed him and like lifted him up and started like dancing around with him, gave him a Messi jersey, and like completely turned this guy on his country. He went from being an Austrian football fan to just Argentina like that, and it's so cool to see. It's I got to go down to the festival, the FIFA festival. I've heard it's sick. Again, I'm not good at soccer. I actually started playing the drop-ins that we have here at Durham Monday to Friday at 2, and I suck. Like it is bad. I have the athleticness because of hockey, but like I'm seeing people curve the ball, and I can't even kick the ball in a straight line without like looking like I'm kicking a field goal in football. It is brutal. Canada, though, we'll talk about that. They play tomorrow. Big game as far as I'm concerned. Is if they get a tie, they win the group, meaning they stay in Canada. That's huge. I watched the first game, and they looked like they had some nerves. Just because they're playing in their home country. The entire fan base that is there is representing them. Like it's bumping in BMO, and then Kyle Laren, very talented player, man. Like I really like watching him play. Jonathan David, I already know who that was though going into it. Alphonso Davies, they've done all this without Alphonso Davies playing, and yeah, my search history is just all soccer players. I've been looking where these guys are playing, if they're playing in the Premier League, how they did in the Euros, and I might have to start watching more soccer just because it's so fun. There's not much like I can't say negative about it. Like it's boring. Don't get me wrong. Sitting there watching a 0-0 game until like the 90th minute, that kind of blows. But it's like there's so much more outside of the game. You hear the fans getting into it, especially the European fans who just have like those chants, and it's just like they're always going, and it's like, man, like these fans, like they are the energy in the stadium that people talk about when you talk home ice advantage, home court advantage, home field. Like those are the fans that like give you the advantage. It makes me kind of like feel like I don't know how noisy things got. I thought like the Jays World Series run was noisy. These guys, like all these European fans, like they are crazy. They will do anything to watch their nation win a World Cup. And then I did a little bit more research, kind of off the World Cup here. Did a little bit more research. Fans are even more crazy for like their city teams, like Manchester United and like Chelsea. Like those fan bases are even crazier than the World Cup fan bases. It's like kind of puts it into perspective. You know, you think Knicks fans are bad, which, you know, New York is Gotham City right now. So, but like these European fan bases and even like the Middle Eastern fan bases, like everything that is to the right of us is like crazy in terms of how passionate they are. They make me as a Leaf fan look like I'm nothing. Like I look like a bandwagon to them. In terms of the slate for the rest of today, we got Ghana and England. I think that's going to be pretty much England winning. That's at 4 o'clock. At 7 o'clock, Croatia and Panama. I think the Team Canada had to beat Panama for something. I remember that a few years back. So I think Croatia's going to win that because if, no offense to Team Canada, but if we can beat them, I'm sure Croatia can beat them because I remember Croatia's been pretty good. Colombia and, DR Congo. I think that's going to be Colombia. I can't lie. I feel like Colombia's pretty good. That's at 10 o'clock. And there's a few games that start at 12 a.m. Like, I would love to stay up for those, man, but I'm, like, passing out as I'm hearing the halftime whistle. So if there's any 12 a.m. games, I'm watching the highlights in the morning rather than staying up and sleeping, unless I'm at the bar that's open till 4 a.m., by the way. And then tomorrow, big game at 3 o'clock. I'm at work, so I can't really, like, watch the game, which kind of sucks, but 3 p.m., Switzerland and Canada. Like I said, Canada needs a point to win the group, so a tie, or I think we could beat Switzerland. I know Switzerland's pretty good, though. Then another game happening at the same time within our pool is Qatar and Bosnia. I think it kind of matters in terms of what the outcome is because we tied with Bosnia, and Qatar also lost. So we beat Qatar pretty bad, man. That was 6-0. I didn't know 6 goals was a lot for soccer until I started looking at box scores, and I'm like, dude, these guys are only scoring like 1 goal, 2 goals, and we got 6. So I think we're pretty good if we're getting 6 goals against a national team. And then at 6 o'clock, you got Morocco and Haiti. I think Morocco's going to win that. Scotland and Brazil. I think Brazil's going to win that because, again, I don't know much, but I do know Brazil is nuts. Like, they had Pelé, the guy, rest in peace, one of the greatest soccer players of all time from research. Most of what I'm saying right now, I did like 4 hours of research, by the way. Like, this is me trying to understand. And then South Korea and South Africa tonight at 9. I think Korea will win that. And then Mexico and Czechia, it's technically says it's 9 o'clock. I think Czechia is pretty good. I think Czechia might win that game. And then as we go on, because this tournament's on for like a month and a half, I'm making a claim. All right, one, if Canada wins the World Cup, I will do a show at some point with my face like completely like Canada face paint. I say that because I don't think we're gonna win the World Cup, but I really do believe Germany has and Norway have a chance. But ultimately, I do think France is gonna win this thing again, just because like you cannot deny Mbappe. He's so good. And I know that it's like March Madness in terms of the elimination process. Like, I know teams play good within their pools, but as soon as they go play those top teams, it kind of gets a little weird and fuzzy. So that's kind of it for the World Cup conversation, just because like I'm so limited on knowledge and it's just kind of surreal to me. No football to talk about. I mean, we could talk CFL, but like I would rather focus on the World Cup. Like in terms of what's coming up on the docket for next week, we'll get into that before I wrap up. We got the NHL draft results, steals, some crazy, maybe some trades. I hope some trades. There's always at least one trade at the NHL draft. And then kind of going on from there is in baseball, we'll be kind of getting towards the All-Star break. So like teams will start making trades. We could talk trade deadline discussions there, trade candidates. And then for football, July is like when training camp for the NFL really kicks off and gets going. And then CFL is like not mid-season, but like kind of getting there. I will touch one thing on CFL. The Argos aren't at home for like 10 weeks. Like, I have tickets for their home opener, and it's like I have to wait till August because of the World Cup to go to their home opener and their not their banner ceremony, but I'm pretty sure there's something to do about their championship they won a couple seasons ago. And I'm excited because there's a giveaway. So that's kind of going to wrap it up here for this episode on the Puck Pitches Pigskins podcast, live here from the DCSA Media Hub and Riot Radio. You can always give us a follow on there as well, and at Puck Pitches Pigskins Pod on our Instagram. And thanks again for joining us. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and peace.